I'm Sister Lauren Weinandt, a Franciscan sister here in our mother houses here in Rochester. I've been here 59 plus years. In August next year, it'll be 60. So that's my goal, is to see if I can make 60.
Can you tell us a little bit about the story of this cafeteria tray?
On Christmas morning, all of the patients received their tray, and on the tray was their tray cover, Christmas tree cover, the napkin for Christmas, and then they placed a little creche on the tray, and the patients would be able to take this home with them, just as a reminder of their Christmas here at the hospital. And they also received a Christmas card, and in the Christmas card it reads, "Your intentions will be included in the Holy Mass offered in St. Mary's Chapel on Christmas morning." And it has a Christmas greeting. It's signed by the administration.
Sister, I am just so amazed by all the holiday traditions here at St. Mary's Hospital that have really grown throughout all of Mayo Clinic over the years. We know we're celebrating the 126th year of St. Mary's Hospital this year, and for all 126 years, Christmas has been a big part of the hospital. So tell me a little bit about the story, about how for the first commercial Christmas decorations were really here at St. Mary's Hospital.
Sister Theodora was the first person to put up Christmas decorations, and she used tinsel, and they were kind of gaudy, I think, probably, but she used tinsel, and she used crepe paper, and she had different colored crepe paper that she crimped on the sides to make it look kind of festive, and she hung them in streamers, and she put them on the Christmas tree, and everyone who saw them admired them, and they thought they were so beautiful, and they had never seen a place decorated like this. So a lot of the business places went home and decided they would decorate their stores or their homes like this.
And wasn't there a man from Minneapolis who was here with his wife, and he owned a store in downtown Minneapolis, and wasn't he the very first in Minneapolis to decorate his store?
He was the very first in Minneapolis that we know of. I could be wrong, but he's the first one that we know of that decorated it, and he had a furniture store, and they were here quite a while with their little boy, and so that's how he got to know Sister and how he'd come to decorate the store for Christmas. Everybody in Minneapolis would drive by and see the store.
And that all started here at St. Mary's.
It all started right here.
But the sisters also did something, and still today do, where you caroled for the patients on Christmas night. So tell us a little bit about that, too.
Well, the sisters always thought that the patients were kind of lonely, and they were kind of let down after their family and friends went home. And so the sisters decided to Christmas carol to them. So they went all through the hospital and caroled to them, and they were so appreciative of the carols that they sang to them, and I think it was good for healing too.
And tell me about one of your very famous carolers, Mr. Danny Kaye.
Well, Danny Kaye was a patient, and I took the Pinkettes caroling that evening, and when we went to his room, he saw us and he came out and he started singing with us. And then he said, "Would you mind if I went along with you and caroled?" And I said, "No, we'd be happy to have you." And so he Christmas caroled with us.
So I wonder what the patients thought when they came caroling and along came Danny Kaye from famous Christmas plays and stories caroling at their rooms.
Oh, they were odd. And everyone came to their doors and they just clapped and just couldn't believe that it would be Danny Kaye to Christmas carol to them.
Christmas caroling. I think that story is so wonderful, and just the whole idea that you really make Christmas so special for people here. Now, what's interesting, too, is St. Mary's Hospital is a hospital, of course, but it's also the home for the Sisters of St. Francis. You live here, so a lot of your Christmas traditions are really home Christmas traditions as well.
That's right. We have a lot of Christmas traditions that are in the hospital. We've just carried them over into the hospital, and we're all family. We're all one family at Christmas.
One of the things that you started here at the hospital that now all of Mayo Clinic does are your holiday receptions and holiday teas. So tell us a little bit about those holiday teas and holiday receptions.
We had, we call them or Christmas coffees is what we call them. And there we had to decorate the table, so I was in charge of the decorations. We had to put something on every table, and we'd have it down the lower dining hall and the lower lobby and the kitchen. It's below the lobby,
Okay.
where the coffee shop is now. And so we had the Christmas coffees there, and Sister Barnabas made donuts, homemade donuts, and those donuts became very famous. And doctors would want to buy them by the dozen and put them in their freezer. And so we had those every year. And I think one of the dietary people went to every one of them. And her supervisor said, well, just go to one of them. And she said, oh, I love those cookies. So I love donuts. I whatever she had.
I think of you every time I go to a holiday tea, a holiday coffee here at Mayo, because I think of the sisters, because you all started that tradition that continues.
It continues on today, I think, in all the campuses.
Many people don't realize that St. Francis is the very first person to do a nativity scene. And a nativity scene has always been very part of St. Mary's history, mostly because of our tie to St. Francis. So tell us a little bit about the various nativity scenes around campus. Why don't we start with the new one that is outside in front of the hospital today? Tell us a little bit about that picture, and if you want to show us that picture of that nativity scene that's in front of St. Mary's today.
Okay.
Hold it right up there for us. Yep.
We have a life-size nativity scene in front of the hospital. And our carpenters built the manger, and it really is a lovely manger. And the bishop happened to be here, and he blessed it for us, so it makes it very special for us. And then the smaller one that we had there was placed out in the back by the parking ramp. And so this is a night picture of that. And then we have a picture taken in the daytime.
So the bigger nativity scene was put out there so that people driving by could see the bigger nativity scene, and then the original smaller one placed at the back entrance for the employees. And I have to say, I get so many comments from employees that say they just love that, coming in and out, going to work, that they can see the nativity scene there. And a woman who was a patient here last year said to me, commenting on the big one out in front, she said, we can't be at home for Christmas, so we can't see our own nativity scene, so to have this one here really makes us feel at home. And that just really warmed my heart, you know.
That's wonderful. It warms mine too.
Yeah. Now, the nativity scene that gets the most notice is the nativity scene that is in our chapel at St. Mary's Hospital. Let's see if we can show that. And now you need to tell the story of this nativity scene at St. Mary's Hospital.
In the early 1900s, Sister Joseph, our first administrator, went to New York, and they were looking around in the stores, and she saw this nativity scene, and she just fell in love with it. She just thought it was the most beautiful thing, and she owed and out about it, and so the clerk thought that she ordered it. She was so enamored by it, and so anyway, in the summer, a large crate arrived here at St. Mary's from the drayman from the post office, and she said, well, I didn't order anything, and so they opened it, and it was the nativity scene, and they thought that, or the clerk thought that she really wanted it, and so the Manger sisters, they had the hotel Lincoln Hotel next to the hospital, and so they went down with her and they looked at it, and they were very enthralled about it too. So they paid for it, and then Sister Joseph got it. And I think that's a crib that's most dear to our hearts.
And that's in the hospital chapel, beginning around the 20th of December through
That's
the
right.
Epiphany.
That's right.
And so many patients I see coming there. And I remember one time, Sister, when I was in the chapel, a patient, a little boy, saw baby Jesus and said, "There's a baby just like me." And I was just like so touched by that.
It's a lovely, and it's just as lovely today as it was when she got it.
When she got it. It's beautiful. The creche around the Nativity Scene has a great story too. That was built by a man that you call Joseph the Carpenter.
Joseph the Carpenter.
So tell us a little bit about Joseph.
Well, Joseph was kind of a vagabond, probably. I don't know what you would call him, but he came to the hospital and he wanted to work for his board and room. And Sister Joseph said that would be fine, and so she took him in, and he did a lot of things, and he built the manger. And our Sister Agnella painted the background for it. And she was a kind of almost an artist, but she was she was very talented in that line. So she did the backdrop, and we still have it today.
And when the men were installing it last year, one of them said, that's the most precious thing that they work on every year. They're so careful with it. The wooden structure and then the painting by Sister Agnella that's still there today.
It's very lovely. You'll have to stop by and see it.
It's just beautiful. It really helps. Now, in the chapel, the other thing I notice about the chapel is filled with poinsettia plants, and it's just a beautiful display of poinsettia both around that manger and on the altar and throughout the hospital. So tell us a little bit about the role of poinsettias here and our poinsettia trees that people have really come to know and love.
Well, they have always placed a poinsettia on all the desks at the nurses' stations and the departments. And they always decorate the chapel with a lot of poinsettias because of the beauty of the bread and the festive plant. And so they put a lot around the crib and around areas in the hospital.
And those poinsettia trees are just amazing. So they're on wire racks, aren't they? And
Yes.
they create a Christmas tree out of poinsettia plants.
Yes, and they're automatically watered for the
season.
plants.
Yeah.
Yes, for the season.
And then in the end, are those poinsettia plants given to the employees to take home?
Yes, after Christmas they can pick up a poinsettia plant, or the patients or employees, whoever wants one, can take one home.
Can take a poinsettia. It's just beautiful.
It's a beautiful tradition to see them take them in their arm and take them home.
You know, today I was over in the gift shop at here at the hospital, and the gift shop is so beautifully decorated for the holidays. And I was just wondering if you could tell us a little bit about the Mayo Clinic gift shop called Sisters Crossing, which was originally scheduled to be in the basement, but I understand you had your hand in making it on the first floor. And it has so many beautiful Christmas things in it. And I saw a woman in there buying things for a patient's room so that they would have some Christmas in their room. So just a beautiful touch. So tell us a little bit about the Sisters Crossing gift shop.
The gift shop was first down in the basement, and it was under the tower building, the basement. And I was working with Sister Jenna Rose one day. We came by the area where the gift shop was, or the construction, when they were getting ready to build it and fix it up. And I said, "What's going in here, Sister?" And she said, "Chaplaincy's going in there." I said, "They're making a mistake." She said, "Why don't we put the gift shop in there?" She said, "Oh, it's too late. It's too late. They've already got the plans drawn up." Then I went down to the office, and I was sitting at the desk and reception desk in the administration, and Roger Wells, the construction manager, had an office right behind me, and I thought, I'm going to ask Roger. I'm going to say, "Roger, I think you're making a mistake. You got to put that gift shop up there." He said, "We got the plans already." Oh, I said, "Plans can be changed." And he said, "Well, I'm going to a meeting at 9 o'clock. He says, "I'll bring it up." when he came back, he went. So we knew that the gift shop was going up there, and I said they make some money for the hospital. They will make a lot more than they will down in the basement.
And it's beautifully decorated for
It's
Christmas.
lovely.
So I have two more things that I want to visit with. The first is, well, of course, we're going to end with Santa Claus, because it wouldn't be Christmas without ending with Santa Claus,
right? We gotta have
So we have
Santa.
to have Santa. But I want to talk first about a beautiful Christmas tree that you received from a very famous patient here at Mayo Clinic. So tell me about that Christmas tree.
Well, Ernest Hemingway was a patient here. I know that it's publicly.
Yep.
I'm not I'm telling anything outside that I shouldn't. But he was a patient here, and he had a lot of free time, it seemed, because he'd always take walks around the hospital, and he'd always stop in my office and, do you mind if I sit down and talk to you for a while? And I'd say, no, that's fine. And so we got to be pretty good friends. And so one day he came down with this Christmas tree, and he said, here, I brought you a Christmas tree for your desk. So he gave me the Christmas tree. And the curator from Key West was here not too long ago, and I gave it to him for their museum.
And it was a silver Christmas tree
Lovely silver tree with red balls on it.
that he gave to you for Christmas.
Yes, he gave it to me for Christmas.
That's wonderful. So Santa has always been a part of the many holiday traditions here at St. Mary's. So tell us a little bit about Santa Claus and visiting the children and pediatrics and Dr. Kennedy and everything. And it's hard for our viewers to know this, but behind the hospital, next to the chapel, near the convent, is a large hill, a big hill with many bumps and things in it. So tell us about Santa coming to St. Mary's.
Dr. Kennedy knew an athlete who was very good at skiing, and so he had him dress as Santa and come down the hill, and with a big bag of toys, and he'd stumble and fall, and the toys would go all over. They'd have to pick them up and put them in the bag again. Then he'd go a ways, and he'd hit a tree, and then they'd fall again. And so finally he got down to the bottom, and then Dr. Kennedy would be dressed at the door, ready to go in to see the children in pediatrics. They were all watching out their windows and laughing and having such a good time. And Dr. Kennedy went in, of course, he knew every child there. He knew their names, and he'd say, here's your dolly, Susie, and that you wanted for Christmas. And he'd say, John, here's your tractor. And everybody had a big toy, and they all couldn't understand. The parents couldn't understand how he knew everybody by name, but then they found out that he was their doctor. But he was dressed as Santa.
And you'd have a big party there, and
then
everybody...
they'd have party, and they'd open their presents, and they just had a wonderful time.
One of the sisters would dress up as Santa. Who used to dress up as Santa?
Well, Sister Columba, she was a kind of a plump and jolly sister, and she was the first Santa we had here, the first Santa Claus.
And so she would dress up and go from room to room.
Oh, yeah, she dressed up as Mrs. Santa Claus.
And would go visit the children.
Uh-huh.
And what I find so fun, sister, is Santa Claus still comes to visit. Even
does.
today, Santa
He
Claus
does.
comes to the pediatric area.
He does. You have to believe in Santa.
You have to believe in Santa. There's
That's
a Santa.
right.
So, sister, what I want you to do is, as we close down our time here, what I want you to do is to go back all those years and think of the halls here at St. Mary's on a Christmas night once the lights are turned off and everybody is tucked into their beds for the evening. What is your very most fondest recollection, or how do you really see St. Mary's? You know, snow outside and the lights are off, and as you walk the halls that you've walked every year for almost 60 years, what's in your mind at Christmas time?
Well, it's a beautiful life. And I think that a lot of times after everybody was tucked into bed and everybody was in bed, a lot of times we went around to the creches ourselves And we caroled, the sisters caroled a little bit to the infant Jesus.
So wonderful.
It's a wonderful, wonderful life.
So when you think back of all the people that have come before us and all the people that are to come, they really carry that tradition of Christmas with them here at St. Mary's.
And we wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a blessed New Year.